Okay, so if you go to this website, osirix-viewer.com, you can click on downloads. This is where you would download the application if you don't have it. And you can do a lot here. You can go to the learning section and watch these videos. These are very good tutorials produced by Apple. There's a wiki, which is somewhat good. And then this will show you how to do some very specific things, and that is here. How to make a QTVR of the beating heart. Lots of different things. The other thing you can do at the download site is you can click on DICOM sample images datasets website, and it will take you to this. This is where you download free datasets which you can use to make reconstructions. You can the Osirix dataset, the Calyx dataset, which is down here. This is the Calyx dataset, and the Mannix dataset are particularly good. Once you have downloaded Osirix and you have a dataset, you can launch Osirix by clicking the icon. And what we'll see is this when it opens. This is a data set which has already been imported. And the way you import it is you just drag it into this window. And then this data set has 4 different studies. Some of them will have just 1 study, some of them will have 20. Generally, we want to use the ones that have the most images. If we double click on them, they'll open in a separate window. And these tick marks represent a series of slices as they were captured from the scanner. Okay? And what this allows us to do is pretty interesting. If we wanted to, I'm zooming and scrolling using these functions here. So this is move, scroll, rotate, and this does window leveling. Window leveling, if you click up and down, left and right, it adjusts the grayscale values. These are all 16-bit images and have very good grayscale values. So let's say we wanted to go through and determine the length of something, and like the length of the septum here from this point to that point. We could take the measure tool and drag down. So that's 3.661 centimeters. Okay? Or we could take the pencil tool and circumscribe an area. Oops. Zoom out a little bit. Take the pencil tool and we could circumscribe this area . Perfect. No, it's not perfect. I missed a spot. So I'm gonna repair that with the repulsor. And the way the repulsor works, if you click close to it, you get a very small yellow circle. If you click farther away from it, you get a very big one. And I'm going to use that to nudge this back into place. Okay? And then I'm going to click closer to nudge it even to be more precise with it. That's close enough. And this area that I've circumscribed is 17.591 centimeters squared. So you can use this in your illustration work to come up with lengths and relative and proportions. Okay, so we can, even without making a 3D reconstruction, we can use Osirix to do some really interesting things. The distance between the ears, for instance, or the length of the skull versus the width of the skull. If you are going to make, when you get around to making a 3-dimensional reconstruction, more often than not you will use this one, which is 3D volume rendering. We'll talk about some of the other ones in other demos. But if you click on that, it will load whatever data set is here as a 3D volume. These are presets. I don't usually use them. And we're going to start off with and just like we had tools in the upper left of the first window, we have tools here as well. Window leveling tool, which adjusts grayscale values and applies color lookup tables to them. And the trick to this is clicking and dragging up, down, left, and right. Moving, you can obviously move it, zoom it, rotate it around the camera this way, or rotate it in 3D space like this. Okay? I don't use this tool. This is your measure tool again, but you really don't want to use it because it's not going to be accurate. I don't think it. Yeah, it's not going to be accurate in this view, or not as accurate. So please do all your measuring in the 2D view. This is a scissor tool, so if I wanted to cut something out here, I could go around it like that and hit delete, and it would cut it out. And you can see that's cut out in space, right? So you could cut these out like this. Delete. And then the bone removal tool, to do that we'll have to see bones, so click on this, and what you'll do is you'll get to where you see this. I'm just adjusting this by clicking and dragging left and right. Okay? Let's say we wanted to remove the collarbone. Click on the bone removal tool, click on the collarbone, and it removes it for us. So we can zoom in there and see it. What artery is that right there? Thyrocervical trunk, maybe? I don't know. All right. So once we have our image, we can capture it by clicking Command-Shift-3, which will capture the entire screen. And what's neat about that is that you can use your window leveling button, adjust it so that you have skin, Command-Shift-3, right? Hit Command-Shift-3 and it'll save a screen grab of this. Scroll down to the bone, hit Command-Shift-3 again, scroll down some more to where we just have bone, take another shot, okay? In addition to this, we can also use the crop tool, which will load a box, which looks like this, around our object, right? And that box, if we grab these little green things, we can move in here and make sections around it. And so that's the straight sinus right there and the great vein of Galen. We position this so we can see into the vertebral canal. All right. And again, what you could do is you could position the box like this. Let's say we have something like this, and we need to see inside the vertebral canal. So we would make a screen grab of this. First, click the crop tool to make it disappear. Make a screen grab by hitting Command-Shift-3. Bring the crop tool back to expose the entire skull. Command-Shift-3. Get the window leveling tool. Bring back the face and hit Command-Shift-3. And these are all perfectly registered when you bring them into Photoshop. Okay? And you could get something in between where we had all these wonderful vessels and even some of the parotid gland and the eyelids and stuff like that. All right? So we could do Command-Shift-3 again. And we would have those images and we could composite them in Photoshop, including the cross-section. The trick is that we didn't move it or reposition the image before that. In another demo, we're going to go through and talk about exporting movies, QTVRs, and that sort of thing. I think for an introduction, that's sufficient. We'll talk about 16-bit rendering and saving your own color lookup tables in a later demo. But I think for now, that's a good overview of Osirix.